million of taxpayer money on illegal immigrants. You're putting the interest of illegal immigrants above the interest of taxpayers in Chicago.
Flashback.
Close a $500 million gap in the city's 2024 budget.
Personnel, pensions, and resources to address the migrant crisis, all costing the city millions and millions of dollars.
A few moments later.
Right now, Chicago is facing a $1.1 billion budget gap for 2026.
The city is grappling with a $1.1 billion budget shortfall.
We have reached a point now where there's no return.
A frank admission from Chicago.
So we were making this video because my brother right here, right? The mayor, when he was asked the other day, do you want funded more police, right? 5,000 more police. He said, no, we need more money for the social programs and all that. I said, it's interesting. And so we looked up and I said, oh, y'all in the hole for almost $1 billion. Oh, shit. And how did he get in the hole for that? This is what this video is about. So the video is about why is he really asking for all this money? Why? What's going on? And this video is going to really, if you like this dude, you might need to not watch this. Because he's asking the federal government for more money and not more help from the National Guard. And this is going to explain why.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, a looming budget crisis could be even worse than expected without new taxes or cuts to city services.
So let's talk about what's going on in Chicago. And he goes all in on Democrat policies. Like, this guy doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. Now, Brandon Johnson took office during the migrant crisis. Now, for those of you with short memories, when Biden was president, he opened up the borders, allowing millions of people to cross the borders illegally.
Tonight, nearly 10,000 migrants a day. That is what federal officials say they are encountering at the U.S. southern border on average in December. That's among the highest numbers ever recorded. And with multiple border entry points remaining closed as the surge at the southern border escalates, U.S. officials now warning that the situation is nearing a, quote, breaking point.
So they were coming through Texas, and Texas is like, yo, we're not having this. So they send them to New York, Chicago. And good old Mayor Johnson, he's like, look, we're going to take these people on and support these people. And now they are Chicago residents. And guess how they're taking care of these people that don't have a job, got families. Guess how they're taking care of these people?
Ed Lavandera is out front.
Apprehensions of migrants crossing the southern U.S. border are once again reaching record levels. A Department of Homeland Security official tells CNN the average number of encounters in the last week is 9,600 per day.
3 years ago, 689 Chinese migrants crossed the southern border. Last year, that number soared to over 37,000. Part of an explosion of migrants coming here from all over the globe.
This morning, tensions escalating on the Texas border. Dramatic new video shows a struggle between Border Patrol and migrants in El Paso. The video shows dozens of migrants pulling aside a razor wire fence, then pushing their way past a handful of Border Patrol agents.
Now, even though all of that was happening, Brandon Johnson was
then pushing their way past a handful of Border Patrol agents.
Now, even though all of that was happening, Brandon Johnson was all in for the migrants.
We know the strength of a city is determined by how we treat the most vulnerable. And so we choose to be a strong city. We must reject a zero-sum formulation between investing in those who have been here for decades and supporting those who have been sit here on a bus even this morning. We can.
Them people clapping are some dumbasses. Because guess So he gets the money from the people that are working there, but guess how he gets the money? Guess how he gets the money? This is gonna make you feel good, real good if you don't live in Chicago.
Do both, Chicago, and we can all thrive together.
Try swear.
Places that said they wanted more migrants, and Chicago was one of those places.
Local officials whose communities are being overwhelmed by hordes of illegal immigrants who are being dropped off by the Biden administration. Texas is providing charter buses to send these illegal immigrants who have been dropped off by the Biden administration to Washington, D.C. We are sending them to the United States Capitol, where the Biden administration will be able to more immediately address the needs of the people that they are allowing to come across our border.
Well, it has happened again. Another bus of migrants has been sent here to Los Angeles.
39 asylum seekers arrived by bus at Union Station today, sent by Texas, including 21 children.
Another wave of migrants arrived in New York City today.
Merecemos una oportunidad.
More than 4,000 have come since May, a metaphorical message from Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
Texas has sent another bus of migrants away from the state, this one arriving in Chicago last night. It comes after the state has sent more than 8,000 migrants to New York and Washington, D.C.
Then all of a sudden it became the
8,000 migrants to New York and Washington, D.C.
Then all of a sudden it became the migrant crisis, and they started declaring states of emergency.
This morning, the mayor of Washington, D.C. has requested the help of the National Guard to assist with the buses of migrants arriving to her city.
Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey has declared a state of emergency to address the state's growing migrant crisis. The governor says there are over 20,000 people being temporarily housed across the state.
Our top story. Another bus of migrants arrived today in Los Angeles and were taken to St. Anthony's Croatian Church for processing.
Back in New York, the mayor.
So it's tens of thousands of people are coming in, right? And they need places, they need somewhere to stay, right? They need food to eat. How are they paying for this? Right? How are they paying for this?
Since September of 2022, the city has paid out $638.7 million in vendor contracts for new arrivals.
Mayor Johnson, in the last 4 years, how much has Chicago spent on care for illegal aliens?
So since 2022, since the governor of Texas was shipping individuals to cities across this country, the city's budget, roughly 1% of the city's budget over the course of 4 years.
That 1% comes out to about $625 million over the past 4 years.
Now, Mayor Johnson essentially
$16.77 billion that I just passed. 41 alders, I believe, supported this.
So now 600 million people to like people that are not even from America. That just now, like, he's gonna find a way to get the money, right? But the problem is, y'all, he had made a promise to the residents, and he ran on the platform of this promise, and now he has to go back on his word, unfortunately.
This budget. And we did all of that without raising property taxes. The evidence is in what I passed.
Now, this was so unpopular in Chicago that the city council unanimously threw it out, and Brandon Johnson had to find another way.
But first, breaking news at City Hall. Mayor Brandon Johnson's property tax hike is rejected by City Council.
It is unanimous. Every single alderperson voted it down, the mayor's $300 million property tax proposal. They say they have plenty of ideas. Now Mayor Brandon Johnson is going to be forced to listen to them.
Then the mayor of Chicago decided, hey, you know what?
So all of us that have mortgages, right? All of us that have mortgages, if you don't have a mortgage, then you don't know what I'm about to say. All of us that have mortgages, right? We know our property tax. I pay 2 payments. You know, I pay like in November, and then I pay, it's like 4 months gap or something like that. But I pay one lump sum and another lump sum. This is for only people that pay mortgages. You don't know what I'm talking about. If you don't pay a mortgage, you don't know what I'm talking about. But it's only usually like a lump sum, and you know the lump sum because it does not change. Oh man. And so I know they eat it, bro. I know when you pay a mortgage, bro, every month, and then that property tax come in, whenever you have a schedule to come in, it's tough. That's a tough month. It's always a tough month. And so he ran on, I'm not gonna raise property tax, and that got him the job. And he's like, you know what? I take it back. We got to feed these migrants. So that didn't work, right? Obviously, they're not going for that. It gets better. It gets so much better.
Just take out a payday loan, high interest rate, but we need this money now because we got to continue to take care of migrants.
All right, so let's take a closer look at the main issue, the structure of the deal. It's $830 million in borrowed funds for things like construction projects, transportation, building maintenance, but it will cost taxpayers at least $2 billion when all is said and done. Under the original plan, the city would make interest-only payments starting in 2027. But the city wouldn't make any principal payments until 2045. That's 20 years from now, majorly inflating costs.
So the mayor says, hey, we're going to
months has followed the money trail tied to Chicago's migrant mission. Total spending now tops more than $400 million.
Now, despite the creation of a city spending website, it's still not exactly clear where all of that money has gone.
Mayor Brandon Johnson was more than 40 minutes into his speech before he broke the bad news to homeowners across the city.
This budget currently includes a property tax increase of $300 million to fund and keep our commitment to fund not just our pension contributions, but to fund the future of our city.
Now, this was hard for Mayor Brandon Johnson because
the Chiraki.
All right. Yeah, it was oh my God. People don't know, man. When you own shit in America, bro, it's we don't want to hear that shit, bro. We don't want to hear that shit, cuz we don't want to hear it. We don't. All right, so the next video, right? The lady's about to talk this in the red is a resident of Chicago, and she is gonna go into the what's going on with the numbers of crime. This is very important because she works in Chicago and she's going to break it down to us. And she's going to break down how the numbers and everything is put together, because something is funny. Something is funny here. It's not sitting right. You got all these extra people, right? And crime is going down. That does not make sense.
Why ends. Instead, what I believe they're doing is they're going to come here and they're going to dismantle the cartel, because the cartel has already been declared a terrorist organization, and now the military is coming here to dismantle them. Because yesterday, El Mayo, who is the counterpart to El Chapo, was convicted and given a life sentence. And then last week, they found another drug kingpin who turned state, who imported like hundreds of millions of dollars of heroin to the west side of Chicago, right outside this window. And
also, I forgot this part. The National Guard cannot arrest anybody outside of DC. And so a lot of you people complaining and afraid, they don't have the power to do that. They only have the power to do in DC. And that's what she said. She just mentioned. And so she's saying they're just there to break up the things they can actually break up, which is the cartel. But I forgot to mention that part. My bad.
He turned state and gave them all of the information about what's going on here on the west side of Chicago. So I think that's what the National Guard is coming here to do. But it's, again, not to harass Chiraqi white men, because they don't have the power to do that. They were able to do it in D.C. because within the D.C. charter, it states that the federal government can commandeer their police department. But that's not what's going to happen here. It's going to be something totally different.
But what is the public, the residents of Chicago? What are they saying? Do they want the National Guard?
Oh my God, people are happy. Dana, we've been asking for the National Guard to come here since the 70s. Shout out to the Cooley X Shy page, which is on Facebook. They put up old archives. However, Black people in Chicago have been saying we need the National Guard. Things are out of control. We're not getting justice from the Cook County courts. And now we're going to have to take it to the federal government. They had that big old press conference for little old me. Okay. I say, dang. But they had their press conference. They said that they didn't want the president to come, and they just got to get over it, because every single person who was standing in that press conference, their job was to legislatively get us not to this space. But because they have failed at their jobs for a plethora of reasons, now we got to call in Donnie. That's it. If they didn't want the president to come here, they should have been doing their jobs.
Well, I pulled up, it was this op-ed here. Would the National Guard actually curb crime in Chicago? And this person who wrote this, they
like, I did a video on the residents, and they asked the resident, another Black lady, and she was like, yes, please send these. The residents are asking for it. Now, not all of them, but a lot of residents, they want the National Guard in there, man. I saw the video where they had to be like 15, 16 years old, had guns so big, they looked like you would only see them on video games. Like, that's like, bruh, listen. Everyone knows how violent Chicago is. Chicago has another name, right? For a reason. And so I think that there's a lot of people that want the National Guard there, and I think that a lot of people are spinning it as if, they're coming in just to lock up a whole bunch of Black people.
believe no, it's not likely, and could even exacerbate tensions.
Girl, forget them. Ain't nobody. First off, there is no tension between us and the police department. This was written by, I think it said Quinn Myers.
Yeah, I talked about that on my Monday show, and I know Man Johnson, he said that, basically what Trump is trying to do is somewhat racist to, lock up people. It is racist. And then he went viral again on MSNBC because they was asking him I don't even think they were tough questions.
Direct.
Yeah, direct questions. And he was trying to dodge. So I want to play some of this here.
Prepare your home for back to school and
anti-violence money.
So now we're going to go into where he says he wants the money to go. He has all these little programs, where he's putting kids to work and all that stuff. But remind you, earlier I showed you they're in debt because of him being such a generous mayor and taking care of these new residents of Chicago. So we're going to go into where, the money.
He acts as an invisible line item for Democrat elections. Every year before its elections, they go and they give these guys who are formerly incarcerated men, they give them this anti-violence money in these yellow vests, and then they send them onto the street to do violence prevention and peace circles and all that kind of stuff. But what they're also doing is passing out literature and at times getting signatures. So am not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it because it sounds good, but the way that they utilize it in the city is manipulative and it keeps us stuck in the Democratic machine.
You heard it. So they give OGs money, they put on a vest, and then I guess the OGs have influence or whatever, and they're supposed to influence the YNs not to be a YN. That shit is dumb as hell. That ain't how it work, bro. The only person that can control YN is the YN's father, bro. That's
Is crime going down or are they inflating those numbers?
oh man. Oh man. So first of all, she's going to give him congratulations because he's making improvements. We're not going to shit on the brother. We're not going to lie on the brother. But this is where it gets really, really good. Right? It's probably the most important part of the whole thing, outside of him being really bad with money, is that how they're doing the numbers is insane. Because once again, we know, right, that they have all these new people coming into their city. And not all those people are good people. We're not going to cap. We're not going to pretend. And so all your numbers going down when you have a surplus of people that you didn't have last year. And this is going to break your mind.
So I'm gonna give you a scoop, and I've said this on a couple of shows. About a month ago, I was at La Follette Park here in the Austin community with one of my guys. We were in the park. He had bought these little juices, so we were drinking them out of these little cups. And the police pull up in front of us in a Chicago Park District pickup truck, and they said, "Hey, no drinking in the park." I'm like, "How you know I'm drinking in the park?" He like, "Oh, well, I bet if I tasted your cup, I would get it." I'm like, "Here, have some then." So we laugh about it. And then he's like, "But no, seriously, the police are out here." So behind us, there was like this massive soccer game going on. And I'm like, "Yo, why you not back there bothering them drinking the Modelo's?" He said, and I quote, "We try not to bother them so much because we know that if we do, they'll get flagged in the system by immigration, and many of them are undocumented." So what that
Did you hear what she just said? They don't even investigate the new residents. That's how they have more people and less crime. Oh, shit. So the numbers is all fake. The numbers are not all the numbers they did. Y'all, all the numbers they're talking about are not real. There's no way the numbers are real. If you're not investigating all the people that live there, there's no way the numbers are real at all, bro. Oh my God.
I mean, Dana, they not reporting the crimes that the illegals are doing in a way to help them evade ICE. Facts. I got that straight from the police. I didn't ask that man for that, but I guess I got big eyeballs, so it makes me look trustworthy. But yeah, he told me all of that, and my friend I was with was like, "Man, he don't even know who he's talking to." I said, "He don't even know who he's talking to," because I'm telling everybody. So that's the first thing. I think that they are manipulating the numbers. But I also think that they are recategorizing a lot of the crimes as well. So yes, murders are down. Yes, shootings are down. But we don't have spot shotter anymore or shot spotter anymore. So before, if there was a shooting, we had this technology that would kind of pinpoint it, and then that drove the numbers up. So they got rid of that technology, and now the numbers are down, which shows that now we got less shootings. It's all manipulative. But in the same breath, I can say that I saw the mayor about a month ago when I went up to him and I shook his hand. I mean,
and there you have it. This is why Chicago, the mayor wants more money, right? He created a hole, right? And he's trying to fix the hole with either borrowing from the future, right, or just going up on property tax. So this is the reason why you have to like understand these people that are in office are always working from a political point of view. They don't care about the residents. They don't care about the people. He's doing this to bolster himself for his party. Because 600 million, right? And if you look, it's going to grow by 2027. It's going to be, they said, around 2 billion in debt. One of the biggest cities in America. The CJ, I hope you had fun. I did. I'm out.